Greydon Square is pioneering a new form of artistic expression for secularists everywhere. Through his well-crafted lyrics, he is presenting the new face of atheism and secularism for the world to hear. With his two albums, Absolute and recently The Compton Effect, Greydon Square has been challenging long-held dogmatic beliefs while pressing for logic and rationality. His talent and outspokenness has earned him praise from the likes of Richard Dawkins, Penn Jillette, and the Rational Response Squad, of which he's now a member. Greydon has been featured on NBC's Nightline on a special about online atheism, where his popularity has grown extensively. Originally from Compton, California, Greydon is currently attending school in Phoenix, Arizona, to pursue a degree in physics. It is with great pleasure that the Centre for Inquiry Ontario welcomes Greydon Square. Thank you.
I promise I'm not Will Smith. Be nice if I was, though. How you doing tonight? All right, so I'm Greydon Square. That was a pretty nice leap, man. I wouldn't know where I was doing all that stuff. Finding out through you and everything. Basically, a little bit about myself. My real name's Eddie Collins. You can call me Eddie. I don't mind. Basically, I was born and raised in the system of California, Department of Children and Family Services. I never knew my biological family, except for what the court's report had said. My father was a founding member of one of the largest gangs in South Central, the 74th Street Hoover Crips. My mother was 14 when she had me in jail. Basically, they took me away from her, and I was raised as a ward of the court for 19 years. Got involved in gang life when I was about 14 years old. Led to a possession of a firearm charge when I was 17. Got out of California Youth Authority when I was 19 years old and was faced with a choice. Go to the Army or, well, go to the Army. That was pretty much it. I mean, there was other choices, but I mean, I guess I could have went to Mexico or something like that, but I don't think that was really too much of an option at the time. So I went to the Army. It was May 2001. I figured they had offered me, to close my record. Basically, they'd say we'd wipe your record clean if you want to go to the Army and serve 4 years for us. I said, all right, sounds like a plan. I get one get out of jail free card. So I went, and it turns out that my get out of jail free card turns into 9/11 4 months later. So I was thinking I was going to get off with a free ride. 9/11 happens, and I was in Virginia when it happened, and an hour and some change away from DC and a couple hours from New York. So that definitely changed my life, like everybody else's, considerably. A year later, I found myself in Iraq with 270th Armored Division and 82nd Airborne. Basically, we were pretty much stationed in the Sunni Triangle, Baghdad, Al-Ramadi, and Hamidiyah. And basically, we were doing that. I did that for almost a year. Then I went to Germany and went back to the States, and then went back to Iraq for a second tour. Did that for about 4 months until my ETS, finished my commitment, and I got out. All this while, I was a Christian. All this while, I was pretty much keeping my Seventh-day Adventist belief system. When I went to Iraq, I believed that was my duty, that was my Christian duty. That was my religious conviction. That was my cross to bear. And basically, going to Iraq with that type of I don't know about you guys, but I feel like walking around. But basically, after that happened, a lot of people were saying, well, maybe you should go, because I was real well versed in the Word of God. So some people was like, well, maybe you should go teach, maybe you should go, be a pastor or whatever. And I thought about it. I was like, that's not a bad idea. I figure I could do that. So I started taking these online courses from this school called the Manhattan School of Divinity. If you ever hear the school, send them hate mail. No, I'm serious. I wish that was a joke. I mean, they send me hate mail all the time. I guess I was one of their big blunders or something like that. Guy still calls me. He's like, hey man, it's not too late. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's that bad right now. So basically, I was going to this online, school of divinity. I was going to go ahead and get my certification so I can go ahead and give sermons. Basically, when I was younger, I was always connected to the church, but only because I loved the book of Revelation. I thought it was like a great book where, you know, I get to learn about Jesus and, you know, vanquishing the evil ones and stuff like that. I mean, I just thought it was a like action-packed, like a Stallone movie or something like that. So after going to the School of Divinity, I never finished because, you know, when I got out, I mean, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? I came down to Arizona to go to school for sound engineering. That was going to pay a lot better than being a pastor, unless I was lying to the people, which I ended up finding out that that's what being a pastor was. It was actually lying to the people. So I went to school for sound engineering. I met this girl. Her name was Candace Stevens. Basically, me and Candace were like this fundamentalist religious couple that, you know, we would walk around and we would go on the corner. She would do her little spiel on the corner and all that type of stuff. She'd want to convert souls, and I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm cool. The sex is good. All right, we'll do that. So basically, that's what we were doing. And we were watching Roots one day. Don't ask me why. That's like a depressing movie. And or series, because that's like, Roots is like, what, 18 hours long or something like that? The entire franchise. So we were watching Roots, and basically the scene comes up where the slave trader, he says, basically, you know, they're bringing him off the boat, and he says, well, at least we're bringing Christianity to the heathens. And that sparked something. And I asked Candace, I said, you know what? Had we not been a product of the transatlantic slave trade, would we believe in the Christian God? And she goes on to say what is now the catalyst for my atheism. She says the reason that people in Africa are so rife with poverty and disease is because they haven't accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior. That was like the dumbest thing I ever heard come out of a human being's mouth, ever. And I mean, I watched Seinfeld. You know, I mean, it's, you know, I don't know about anybody else, but I just thought that, you know, that was just insanely stupid. So I went on this, like, I don't know if I want to call it like a religious, like, pilgrimage, but I guess I went on this, like, quest where I would, you know, research every religion or faith or discipline that I possibly could. And basically, I found out that they were all the same. It's all BS. Everything. For me, it was just something that, you know, the people were told because they were afraid of death and they were afraid of the dark. That was pretty much it. So powerful men with their own self-serving interests took advantage of that. Created a religion or religions, and it pretty much evolved throughout the evolution of man, for the most part. I don't know if I'm right, but that was my assessment of it. I was always writing music. I remember sneaking into the gym of a group home that I was in to play the piano, self-taught. I used to draw inspiration from people like Quincy Jones. I used to think Michael Jackson made his own music, and I was pretty disappointed when I found out that that wasn't the case. Phil Collins, the Bee Gees. While kids my age were listening to like NWA and 2 Live Crew, I was listening to real music. That's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure that NWA and 2 Live Crew wouldn't be too happy with me saying that. And I know a lot of people say that, you know, I'm not from Compton, or I'm not, you know, any more street, or I don't have any type of street in me because I do listen to those things. And I've always felt like where I'm from and my skin color should never get involved with my passions in life. Shouldn't. I mean, I feel like, you know, if a 48-year-old white woman wants to write a rap song, she should write a rap song and not think about her race or that she's from, you know, Connecticut or something like that. Not that that's bad. I like Connecticut. No, I like Connecticut. But, you know, I just don't think that her skin color or her sex or anything should get involved with her doing that. There are passions in life that I think we miss out on because we're expected to be a certain way. I didn't know anything about rock climbing. I didn't know anything about, you know, skydiving or base jumping. I was told black people don't do that. You hear it all the time. People like Martin Lawrence say it all the time. People like Dave Chappelle say it all the time, and I like Dave Chappelle. Too bad he went crazy, but I mean, you hear it all the time. Well, black people don't do that stuff. Nah, black people don't do that stuff. And I was missing out on a lot of stuff because I was black. I thought we had moved past this, where we could actually, you know, do whatever we wanted to do because, of course, America was supposed to be this free country. And it turns out that's a lie, like religion. So, I don't know. I think about it now, and I wonder where I would be now if it had not been for me and Candace having that argument. Because as soon as we had that argument, and that's exactly what it was, and I did this whole pilgrimage and research about religion, I started to learn more than my brain could handle. So, like with me writing songs before, the only natural course was to write songs about it. And that's what I started doing. The first song that I ever wrote about any type of secularism was Extion. Extion was the song that made me famous, I guess. I'm not really famous, am I? I don't know. I had to ask for a standing ovation today. Down at Greydon Square, I was like, can I get a clap? And people kind of started one. And you know, one person does it, everybody else does it. They assume that because one person's do it, that they should do it, so. But I gained this recognition from a song that I wrote called Extion. And since I don't think I'll be doing Extion to the beat tonight, I'm gonna rap Extion to you right now. And basically, Extion was a song I wrote when I was agnostic. I wasn't full-blown atheist yet. That's funny because I usually take a lot of shots at agnostic people for fence sitting, because I do feel like it's more of a fence sitting thing. But I don't know, I take a lot of shots at agnostic people, and I wrote this song when I was agnostic. And the song itself gained the recognition of like Penn Jillette. Penn Jillette gets sends me a MySpace message. I didn't even know Penn Jillette had a MySpace page. So Penn Jillette, he's like, hey man, I got a MySpace page just for you. I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. MySpace sucks. Try Facebook. I'm like promoting other websites and stuff like that. So he was like, no, here's my email, shoot me a line. So I started talking to Penn, and Penn gives me ideas about songs and stuff like that. Then I heard that Richard Dawkins gets on BBC or something like that, and I still have yet to see the clip. And he's talking about me and my music, because it was on his website. It was on like the front page of his website. And I'm thinking to myself like, wow. But anyway, the song, it goes like this. It goes, you hand me a beat, I'll abuse you like Catholic priests do to children during the holiest of Vatican weeks. The sack of my beats ain't fat, they enormous. They'll leave your brain gone, off and lost like a pack of Mormons. You disrespect my clan, you better run and hide the same way Christians accept intelligent design. You push the truth aside, and ministers win. But if you so strong in your belief, answer me this. If the memories of a life's retained in the brain dies inside it, nothing remains. Wouldn't that mean you would have absolutely and positively no recollection, no recount of previous things when you die? Angels and demons, devils and gods do not await you. Even if your own condition would not escape, you'd sit up in church with fake faith and false hope. Get up and burst out amen and praise God. Jesus, he saves lives. Molest your daughter and cheat on your wife at the same time and claim I'm speaking the devil, that I'm going to hell. And as far as hell, speak of the devil. It's amazing how this God is ubiquitous, omnipresent, existent in every stitch of existence, but yet and still is this place devoid of his presence, of torment and sickness, that you go forever for 80 years of sins you committed? That's ridiculous. You know what makes it worse? It's the fact that nobody else seems to have an issue with it. Just blindly giving into it, but me. But maybe I'm the crazy person. Maybe it's just me. I love knowing there isn't a God. Well, at least that the God in the Bible isn't God. You may think it's odd that I'm black and I don't swear by a God that everybody recognizes as God. I'm tired of saying the word God. It's self-defeating and meaningless. Just a title. I don't reverence for some lenience. And lenience for what? Every single sin that we have in our arsenal, he gave us to strut. And for what? What kind of sense would it make to create a sinful creation you judge from the gate, and then send your only son to prohibit the fate that you ultimately responsible for? And why in the hell are we saying he? Because if God had a sex, then he wouldn't be. And maybe if he was God, then he couldn't leave his greatest creation alone in this time of need. And this is exactly what I mean. We ignore the obvious in front of us. And 2,000 years from now, people are going to be making fun of us if we last that long. If the Muslims don't kill the Christians, and the Christians don't kill the non-Christians because they can't compete with the Muslims, because the Muslims cutting people's heads off, chanting in Arabic, claiming they love them, declaring jihad on Western Muslims, taking innocent lives for nothing. But maybe it isn't. Maybe it just seems. Maybe I'm the crazy person. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'll just leave. Take my crazy belief system and just leave, because really it's just me. And I'm coming to Toronto. I remember before I recorded that song on YouTube, I let Candace hear it. You're going to hell. I'll pray for you. We'd already broken up at the time, and we were still in that after friends with benefits stage or whatever. And I remember, I was laying next to her and I said, well, I wrote this song. She said, what kind of song is it? I said, you're probably not going to like it. So I let her hear the song and she was like, you're right. I don't ever want to see you again. All right, fine, whatever. So I never saw her again after hearing that song. I thought I was good like that, but I guess I'm not. So, I don't know. I mean, after knowing the reaction to Candace, I felt like I was on to something. If I could piss somebody like her off, I figured, what the hell. But I wasn't fully atheist at the time. I didn't know about things like infinite regression. I didn't know about things like pre-information paradox or anything like that. I didn't know any of these arguments. I didn't know, anything about Pascal's wager or anything like that. So me, in my arrogance of, I guess, my newfound, epiphany, I go out and I want to go debate somebody now because I feel like I know it all. So I go back down to the corner where me and Candace used to hang out, and I just wait. Sure enough, the crazy guy comes up, and he is crazy, comes up with his little PA system, sets it down, takes his big Bible, and basically only has one page, and it's just like, repent now or go to hell or something like that. So basically I say, what makes your God any different than anybody else's God? He says, well, my God died and came back to life. Now, I didn't know this was a trend in, belief systems or anything like that, the whole God having to physically die and come back to life. So I was like, damn. So I walked off. I didn't have anything to say about it. It's like, all right, man, I'll be coming to church on Sunday. So I actually thought about coming back. I actually thought about going back. I didn't know any better. So then I go online, and basically the best thing that I think that I ever did was I made a YouTube video. And my YouTube video series was called Atheist Nation. And I made a mistake in Atheist Nation, the first one. I think I'm up to like part 10 or something like that right now. I made a mistake. I let people know about my gang affiliation in Atheist Nation. I don't want to blow out any eardrums. So I let people know my gang affiliation in Atheist Nation. And I didn't know it was going to come back to haunt me. I just figured if you're going to know who I am, at least know who I am fully. Know that this is where I come from and this is who I am. So I started asking questions and I think poking holes in people's arguments. And it turns out I had no idea what I was talking about. So I started doing massive amounts of research. Went to evilbible.com, Skeptics Annotated Bible. Anybody ever been to those sites? Pretty good sites, right? No? Never? They're good sites. Check them out. Evilbible.com introduced me with the argument, the counter argument from design. Like I said, I had no idea of what natural selection was. I just heard of evolution or whatever the case may be, and I thought it was something that the evil scientists had made up. I didn't realize there was evidence to support it. When you have this theory, you present evidence, and that's what makes the theory, credible, and that's what happened. And I found out about this. I'm like, whoa, well, damn. All right, well, I guess I'm onto something here. So I started, learning, about natural selection, and I started doing my homework and stuff like that. So then, when I felt like I was ready, I go back to the corner. And sure enough, Friday night, guy comes up, with his little PA, opens his big Bible. I said, so guess what? I found out about, your God and how your God came back to life. He says, oh yeah? I said, well, that's not the first time that's happened. So I let him know about all the different gods or whatever the case may be that died and came back. He's like, well, the devil put those people there. What do you mean the devil put those people there? I'm trying to tell you that your story, there's evidence of your story that predates the Christian story by, almost 15,000 years here. Oh, well, that's Satan trying to deceive you. That's when I knew it wasn't going to change. I'm not going to be able to convert anybody or deconvert anybody. So the best thing I could do is just let the message be heard. Maybe as like a call to arms. So that other free-thinking people like me can come out of the closet and be open about it. So I think the next day I went and printed up an atheist shirt, went to Walmart, and I'm going up, I'm going through the line, and the lady looks at my shirt and it just says atheist on it. She's like, you don't believe in God? I was like, no, I don't believe in Santa Claus either. What's your point? She got so mad. She called like security to have come escort me out. I wasn't even done paying for my stuff yet. She was like, here, take this. And she threw it at me. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Walked out. This to me is the best thing that's ever happened to me. My atheism. I felt like religion was like this big backpack of bricks and stones and guilt. I was able to take off. And to me, that's the best feeling you'll ever have. That's the best feeling I've ever had. Coming back from Iraq, I remember when you get back, basically when the plane takes off, everybody celebrates and they get up and like, oh yeah, we made it. And there's also the moment of silence for the people who didn't make it. This felt better than that. I think this was better than that. Definitely better than that. So a lot of people say, well, what's your point? What are you trying to do with this? I guess to answer that question honestly, there's usually a textbook answer with that. But between me and you, I guess I'm trying to piss people off.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hide it. It's easier to piss people off than it is to impress people. You ever notice that? Like, I can walk somewhere, and say like, do something that's like mildly offensive to, a lot of people, but most people just kind of brush it off. You go try to impress somebody, they want A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z, they want blood samples and urine analysis and sperm donations. I'm like, it's not gonna work. I don't have all that, So I figured I'll piss people off. So I started writing songs, and a year later, all of a sudden I'm standing before people like you, who are people like me, essentially talking to myself. I'm pretty sure you guys are a lot ahead of I am. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have probably been on this path for a long time. Probably know more about this stuff than I do. And most of the stuff that I do talk about is pretty basic. It's generalized. We were out on Dundas Square today. And there's a part in the song Squared, which I'm probably going to perform a little bit later on, where I pointed at some tour guy on a bus passing. I guess he felt so bad that he got off his little thing and turned off his mic. But that wasn't really my fault. Janet pointed him out, and so I did what Janet told me to do. And so I don't know. It's easier to do this. I think it's easier to do this than to be a soldier lying to myself. It's easier to do this than to be a Christian lying to myself. Some people say, well, why don't you just, ask God for help? So I went and I wrote out something that I had never written out before, and that was a wish list for Santa Claus, because I felt like that was the exact same thing. Nobody's going to make this change unless I do it myself. So I figured pissing people off was the best way to do it. And a year later, here I am. So any questions about who I am or what I do, know, or don't know?
In Canada, we have an expression. They ask, what's a Canadian? I'm not an American. In other words, you have a negative answer. All your arguments, and I say I agree with them and have done them, are all negative. What can we do, what can you do to present a positive image?
Positive and negative, I think, are relative. What may be positive and negative to you may not be positive or negative to him. I mean, it's all perspective, right? Adolf Hitler believed that what he was doing was the work of God. Did he not? Yeah. Yeah, he did. I read Mein Kampf. I know I'm not supposed to. Black people don't do that, right? No, it is relative. I mean, consider the fact that, I would never say that gang life is wrong. I'm not going to say that gang life is wrong. It's misleading, it's dangerous, but I'm not going to say it's wrong. Some people out there, out in the audience right now, would say gang life is wrong. They would be right and I would be right. Why? Because it's our own perspective. I was involved in gang life. Most of you probably weren't. What can we do that's more positive? I don't think sugarcoating is the answer. I don't think that we should butter it up. These people have had thousands and thousands of years to humiliate and degrade and pretty much treat people like crap and use their guilt as weapons. I mean, why should we give them any leeway? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we should just go out and be negative, but let's call a spade a spade. If it's phony, let's tell them it's phony. If it's Santa Claus, let's tell them, I don't believe in Santa Claus. I don't see what the harm in that would be. They're going to say that what we're doing is wrong regardless. I would rather present the strongest argument, whether it be positive or negative, addressing whatever position that they take. That's just me.
Actually, can we get people to line up? Since we're taping this, we need it all to be going through the speaker system. So if you have questions, just by all means, please come to the mic.
Yeah, what he said. I didn't know we were doing that. Is anybody else? Anything? No? Don't be ashamed. I won't bite you unless you're into that sort of thing.
Now you're in trouble.
I've never asked anybody a question in public before. I'm just interested in...
Mike.
Speak to the mic. There? Oh, it's not working? No,
We can hear you.
I just wanted to ask something about your personal life. You grew up in the system, so you had foster parents or group home care, what have you. Where did your religion stem from in that? Was every home you went to a religious or Christian home?
Well, like the Christians would say, atheism never does anything for the community, which I completely disagree with. It's sheer numbers, semantics. But most of the group homes, with the exception of maybe one, I lived in maybe 30 different group homes in my childhood between birth and 19 years old. Most of the group homes that I was in were definitely, first of all, founded on religion. They were founded by some church nearby or some guy who felt like he was a holy crusader saving, children from, satanic homes or something like that. But to answer your question, my religious affiliation stemmed from growing up in these group homes who were religiously aligned. Most of them were. I hope I didn't gotta pay for that. I hope I don't have to pay for that. Most of the places that I was in were either Seventh-day Adventists / Jehovah's Witness, whatever the case may be. I was in a Episcopalian group home at one time, and learned a lot about how the Episcopalians do things, and even a Catholic group home as well. That's where that comes from. And of course, it's all shades of gray. I mean, it's all Christianity. A lot of, I never understood the rift between the Catholics and the Protestants.
Yeah.
The only thing I could associate with is the Bloods and the Crips, and they're fighting for no reason. For what? A disagreement? I mean, we were fighting over a bicycle. That can be replaced. A disagreement didn't even have to happen. You ever heard the story about the Bloods and the Crips? Over a bicycle? Many upon many of black men and black women and other people dying over a bicycle. I'll tell you that sometime. But anyway, to answer your question, my religious affiliation and conviction came from being in those group homes who were religiously aligned. If it was a Seventh-day Adventist group home, then that's what I was at the time. The last group home that I was in was a Seventh-day Adventist group home, and of course those were in my adolescent years. And going to that, coming from that group home, that's the one I took with me. When I went to the Army and had to check the little box, I had to check SDA. She got me out of a lot of Saturday duty. So, yeah. If I would have known that then, I would have went in and said that I was like Mormon or something like that. Because anytime if you're Mormon, even though wouldn't that be like a contradiction to even go into the military as a Mormon? But basically they have it to where if you do anything and you're a Mormon, you can pretty much get off work anytime you want. So, yeah, I should have done that. So, I hope I answered your question. Thank you. What else we got?
Yeah. Oh, the mic's gone. Great. I can actually talk. Okay. It has been said by others, and I understand what they mean, that if somebody asks you about your beliefs and you say, I'm an atheist, you're telling them what you don't believe. Whereas humanists tell you what they do believe. Now, I was thinking about this and I thought, if somebody asked me about my religion, any question about religion, just briefly like that, would I choose humanism, which is larger, or would I choose the immediate atheism? And I realized I would do the same as you do. I'd say at that point, I'm an atheist. And you say you want to piss people off. I don't think it's exactly my reason, but there is a provocation in it that I think is necessary. To say humanism, a lot of people don't even know what it means, but to say that, they understand immediately, and now you know you've got their ear. What I want to know, though, is you want to piss people off. Again, what is your purpose in doing it? What is your larger purpose?
Pissed off people change things. I can't remember who said it, but they said the first thing I want to do is get you angry. Who said that? Does anybody know?
My mom. No.
Mom's a great philosopher. I mean, up there with like Carlin and Whoopi Goldberg and stuff. But no, I mean, pissed off people make changes. When you are angry for some reason or another, you act with more determination. Now, let's say if I piss people off and, they're Christians or whatever the case may be, they're theists. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to their church. I heard about this guy. You wouldn't believe this guy. His name is Greydon Square. He's an atheist rapper. Talks about all the little arguments and stuff like that. Has no faith. He worships Satan. Somebody in there is going to hear that. Now, how does that work in my favor? It probably doesn't. But let's say, hypothetically, that somebody else is in there. And they say, I want to see what she's talking about. I want to see what he's talking about. So they go on there. And they listen to Greydon. And Greydon's doing his thing. Yeah, Greydon Square's kind of tight, yo. And he's kind of cute, too. He's got those Will Smith ears. I want to rub those down. But they say, you know what? He's making some sense. I never thought of it like that before. Now, let's look at it on the other hand. Let's say that same person goes to church. That same person says the exact same thing. Goes out, does the exact same thing. But in the process, it strengthens their conviction. Now all of a sudden they're a stronger Christian than what they were. The great thing about religion is the fact that it usually exposes itself. So when they go out there with this newfound conviction to save souls, most of the stuff that they want to do, I've already killed in argument. So they can't really do it. So when they do go out there and they say, well, hey, did you know that our God died and came? Well, damn, I don't know if I want to talk to you about that, because other gods have done that. Then they have to start wondering about, oh, well, what separates me from anybody else? My purpose to piss people off is because I know piss people off actually do things. Complacent people who are content with their lives, they don't have to do anything. They're content. They don't need to do anything. I know that if I was to say to you guys that there is a group in America right now that are trying to remove all teachings of evolution and natural selection from the schools, it would piss you off. Why? Because it's the truth. There are people right now in America trying to remove all teachings of natural selection from the schools. And when I heard it, it pissed me off. So I was lazy. I wrote a song about it. I'm pretty sure you guys will actually do something. But like, for me, that's all it took. Maybe my song will help someone down the line. But hopefully, to answer your question in the short form, pissed off people actually do things. Content people don't.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kind of feel important up here. Yes, ma'am. Well, turns out that I was ugly instead. Who else has got something? What you got?
Your name.
Eddie.
No,
Greydon?
Yeah, why did you choose
You know what? There's an interesting story behind Greydon Square. I was sitting in class one day, and I wasn't paying attention to something. It's like, you know what? Greydon Square sounds like it'd be a cool name. And that's it. I told you it was impressive. No, you know what? I get that question. I get that question a lot. My name actually doesn't mean anything. I seriously did make it up sitting in class. I made it up though. I thought I heard the name, or I thought I heard the phrase. I was in what was I doing? Stats at the time or something like that. And I thought my instructor, my teacher, had said something about the Greydon Square. It turns out he said something about the Greydon Square. This is what you get when you don't pay attention. A new name and career. And so I was like, I wrote it down, I was trying to take notes or something like that. I don't know what I was doing. And I came back and I said, yeah, I have a question about something in the Greydon Square. He was like, what? The what square? It's like the Greydon Square. You were talking about, he's like, you mean the Gradient Square? I'm like, yeah, that. So after that, after looking like an idiot, standing up in front of the class, I took that and I was like, well, that sounds like a pretty cool name. Before that, my name was Apocalypse. Had this real negative overtone. Like I said, I was fascinated with the revelation and the end of the world and stuff like that. I think my two favorite subjects was like nuclear war and like zombies or something like that. Anything that had to do with like, flesh-eating things that, whatever. So my name prior was Apocalypse. And I always thought about changing that name because Apocalypse was, when people called me APOC, most of the people called me APOC because they knew me when I was younger. And of course I was a lot more dark, I was angrier. Everything that I did was fueled on emotion. And the difference between Apocalypse and Greydon Square is the fact that Apocalypse, while driven by emotion, is nothing like Greydon Square, which is driven by logic and reason and compassion and critical thinking and those things that they should teach you in elementary school that they don't. So the name doesn't mean anything. Although if you like to offer a suggestion of what you think it should mean, I will definitely submit it to the Oxford Dictionary and we can try to get it in there.
Well, I think you just said it's a progression of your thinking, and this is
That sounds like a plan. I think I'll run with that. Sounds like a plan. So yeah, the name doesn't mean anything. I did make it up sitting in class somewhere. So what else we got? Come on, keep them coming.
Here in Canada, there's a lot of talk about...
You're not Americans.
There's a lot of talk about, diversity and respect and political correctness and all that. And obviously, the religious establishment doesn't, tolerate much, the atheists and the agnostics. What do you think, vice versa? How much should we tolerate? How much do we need to respect diversity and all that? What are the limits? What are the boundaries?
We shouldn't saw anyone's head off because they believe. I will go as far as to say that. We shouldn't put snuff videos on the internet of people being beheaded because they don't believe or think the way we think. Now, I'm all for passion, as you can see. I'm very passionate about what I do, and the things that I say, and I think a lot of research goes into what I say. I will fight the good fight, but it will never come to blows. Why? Because if it has to come to blows, it probably isn't worth it anyway. That's just me. How much leeway, how much tolerance should we have? Anything short of a physical confrontation, by the other side, I don't see why it should ever come to anything like that. We should never even be talking about tolerance. I think our biggest thing should be the pursuit of more knowledge. Because that's what the church fears, right? They fear the knowledge that's going to expose them, that's going to pull their skirts up. And I don't mean that in a sexist way or anything like that. I'm just saying that's what they fear, is the knowledge that's going to expose them for what they are. Frauds, phonies, liars. That's what they are. I think we should tolerate, everything up to a point. Anything short of anything that would compromise the safety of you and your family. But I also don't think, if there's one thing that we shouldn't tolerate though, is our schools. Anything that has anything to do with children, we should not tolerate the indoctrination of children. And if there's anything that I was going to pick a fight from the great war that's going on, and it is a war, from the great war that's going on, it's our children. Because like most people, I was raised to think that God was real. I was raised to think that if I pray to this God, he'll give me anything that I wanted to. I didn't have to do any work. I just like, you know what? I'm on my couch, I'm eating Cheetos. God, can you give me a job? Little did I know I had to actually go out and fill out applications, as opposed to, just praying to some invisible man. Anything short of our children, we should be okay with. Happy debate, passionate debate, angry debate, as long as it's debate, not argument. Even though it's kind of the same thing. We're arguing semantics at that point. Hopefully I answered your question. Yes? Okay. What else we got? Somebody else raised their hand. Somebody back there.
I did.
Come on.
You're a young man, and you seem to have gone through a lot in your life. And your life seems to have evolved quite a bit from being a fundamentalist Christian to a half agnostic, full-time agnostic.
Gotta love those agnostics.
Now an atheist. And I wonder if you see a time in the future when you may even go back to where you came from, in the sense of being a fundamentalist Christian again.
If someone offers me evidence available to the five senses that there is a invisible man in the sky, I'll consider it. But then they have to show me why the other invisible men don't exist. I would never go back. I couldn't. I'd be lying to myself. And if there is a God, then he made me this way. And he has to be the most counterproductive being that ever existed. I mean, I'm sorry. I could never go back. I don't see how anybody could. It's like the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy comes out the house and it's all, that ugly, not the like black and white, the good black and white that you get in like the late 50s. I'm talking, this is the ugly black and white of like the 40s and the 30s of whatever that was. When she steps out and everything is in like Technicolor. For me, this is like the ugly black and white stepping out to like 1080i, 1080p high definition. I could never see the other way again.
Never say never.
I could say never in this point because I know that God is logically impossible.
What if your brain turned to spaghetti?
Then I probably wouldn't be able to process the information anyway. I would probably be being fed through a straw or something like that, and it really wouldn't matter to me. My main goals would probably be not urinating on myself. I probably have bigger problems to worry about at that point. But you're right. I try not to speak in absolutes. But that itself is a paradox because there are certain absolutes that will remain absolutes. For instance, when someone says there are no absolutes, you just spoke absolutely about there not being absolutes. It is a paradox. We live in a universe of paradox. Where at the singularity of the Big Bang, the laws of physics seem to break down. But yet we have what is seemingly perfectly constructed physical laws to allow for our form of life. It is a paradox. Can I say that I'll never go back? Yeah, because I know I'll never go back. But if I was to go back to theism, I think I was talking about this today. You know which religion I would adopt? The gray religion, and I learned this from Star Trek, I didn't know. The Norse pantheon. Anybody ever heard of the Norse, the Vikings, and what they believed? These guys were great. Let me tell you what the entire Klingon species in Star Trek was stolen from the Norse. Basically, these guys are like warriors. Everything revolves around honor and integrity and great big broadswords that you see in Braveheart. And these guys will like literally plan for what is called Ragnarok, which is their version of Revelation or Apocalypse. Basically, when they die, they go to Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain, where they pretty much prepare for battle, they sing songs, they drink, they have sex, and it pretty much goes on like this for eternity. That sounds a lot better than the heaven I was ever taught. So I know if I was to go back to any type of theism, that would be it. Because if I ever wanted to go to any type of heaven, that would be it. So you're right, never say never, but
There are famous atheists that have reverted.
there has been famous creationists that has deconverted. Works both ways.
I'm as committed to my atheism as you are. And then as far as that goes, I was brought up a fundamentalist, and I think that religion should be screened in a mental institution, but things happen.
What could happen? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. What could happen to me that would make me forget everything that I've learned? We know hypnosis is BS, so that's not going to happen.
But you're
What?
thinking logically.
Huh?
You're thinking logically.
Absolutely.
But the question isn't logical. Faith is not logical.
So how could I ever consider something like faith in the logical state of mind that I'm in if it isn't logical? Why would I ever entertain that idea?
People do things based not on logic all the time.
So what would be my motivation?
A miracle.
A perceived miracle.
How do you define a miracle?
A perceived miracle. I mean, it could be to you what is a miracle is maybe not the same as it is to me. but can I ask a question? I want to get back to what you said, that being in a gang is not wrong. And it's interesting that you use the terminology wrong, morality, which is very much a part of religion. And I'm just wondering, in terms of how you see yourself as an atheist and how you define right and wrong, if you could extrapolate on that.
Let me talk a little bit about my gang life.
Could you repeat the question?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Basically, she said when I was talking about when I had said that being in a gang wasn't wrong. She said it was interesting that I used the terminology wrong. How do I define my morals, basically, right and wrong, as an atheist? Wasn't that kind of it? I'm sorry if I butchered kind of what you said. You said it so eloquently. I just wanted to follow in your footsteps. No, let me tell you a little bit about my gang history. Like religion, I didn't join my gang really by choice. I grew up in an area that was a gang area. All of my friends were gang members. All of my friends, I'm not even going to say that. All of my friends had older brothers, cousins, uncles, daddies, mamas, sisters, whatever, that were involved in gangs. These were simply my friends. I didn't know about Trag New Park when I was growing up. I just knew that all my friends lived in the same area I lived in, and we all did everything together. So when my friends used to get into it, and kids fight kids from other neighborhoods all the time, whether it happens in Wyoming or New York or California, it happens all the time. There's always rivalries and sects that evolve. That's just kind of the way we are as human beings. So when my friends used to get into stuff, fights or whatever, we used to go down to like the skating rink or something like that, and a group of my friends would get into it with a group of some other guys. Those are my friends. Homies or not, those are my friends. So if they're getting jumped or something like that, me at that time, I would jump in. No question asked. Those are my dudes. It evolves, of course, into affiliation. Anybody who says that they choose to be in a gang, anybody who chooses to be in a gang should be committed. Because most people who are gang members don't choose gang life. It simply chooses them. Now you have the option to walk away. Most people do. But just because you walk away doesn't mean you're out. Me as who I am today could never go back to Compton right now and say, hey, guess what? I could go into some neighborhood like, 135th and Pyro. West Side Pyro, one of the biggest blood gangs in Compton. Hey, by the way, my name is Eddie Collins. They used to call me Lil Maniac. And I used to be a Crip. I guarantee you will see me on the news the next day. They do not care. What I do now has nothing to do with what I did or what I was involved in then. You're never out. That's just not the way it works. I hear that all the time. I got out. You're never out. Because if you were my enemy at that time, and I was still involved in gangs, and you came back and said, hey, guess what? I went to Iraq and came back, and I'm a new man. You're right. But the old man is what did that stuff to us. So we're going to deal with that old man who happens to be standing in front of us. There is no logic behind gang life, which is why I don't gangbang now. There's no logic behind religion. And I've always looked at religions as gangs. I mean, think about it. My neighborhood, Central Laundry, kind of like the northern part of Compton, surrounded by enemies. We had more enemies surrounding us than, I couldn't even think of. We were like Israel. We had like Middle Eastern beef, you know what I mean? I mean, short of like RPKs and, RPGs and stuff like that and shooting up convoys, it was the real deal. We were surrounded by enemies. And every day was something else. Every day. Oh, did you hear about such and such got into it with this person? Such and such got into it with that person. I remember when a friend of mine, they used to call him Black. I remember when Black got shot. It's funny, Black was actually a light-skinned dude. Just something random I decided to throw out there. I remember when Black got shot. Black didn't die. But Black getting shot had no bearing on if he would leave the gang or not. If he would leave the neighborhood. And his mama moved him out of Compton, moved him to Lancaster, which is like 100 miles north of there. Did he stop banging? No. He started up a gang in Lancaster. There's nothing illogical about it. That's gang life. Just like, you know, the predicate felon that for some reason just seems to find crime. There's nothing logical about it. Which is why I'm not involved in it today. And that's why churches, to me, are just like gangs. We had a lot of enemies. I bet you I can name 3 or 4 recurring feuds in religion right now. Most notably, the Catholics and the Protestants. They even have ways that they describe each other, just like Bloods and Crips, that are negative. We didn't call Bloods Bloods as Crips. We call them slobs. They do the same thing in different ways. Whether it's, you know, Protestant, Catholic, Lutheran. Didn't Catholics have so many enemies? I just realized that. The Catholics have so many enemies. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. They deserve those enemies. Those guys and the Mormons. I love taking shots at the Mormons. What else we got? I'm sorry, I'm rambling on. What you got?
Actually, I'd like to say here the second part of that question.
Oh, the morals, right?
The morals.
Oh, okay. That's an easy question for me to answer. I developed my morals after I left religion with the social contract, basically, and this has nothing to do with religion or Christianity. I know a lot of people like to say it does, but this predated Christianity or any type of religion. Basically, treat others the way you want to be treated. You don't want nobody to come in your house and steal from you. Somebody comes in my house and steals from me, I'm gonna beat them up. I'm 6'4", about 240 pounds. Take somebody to fight, no? So basically, treat others the way you want to be treated. Don't lie to somebody because you don't want them to lie to you. Don't steal from nobody because you don't want them to steal from you. Don't kill somebody because you'll go to jail and get gang raped or something. You just don't do that. It's not hard. Most of the stuff that's gray area or wishy-washy or whatever the case may be, most of that stuff, use a little, I'm not going to say common sense, because I was told today that that's not really politically correct. But if you use some critical thinking and you look at things that are grayed and say, you know what, this applies for this situation, I'm going to do this. I don't see how morals would be anything hard to identify. I mean, let's look at atheists. How many wars do you know that have been started in the name of atheism? How many people have been beheaded in the name of atheism? Do we know? Do we got people?
Atheists, I don't know whether they did it in the...
Right, because of their atheism. Right, what I'm saying is atheist was the motivation.
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I was going to destroy my entire argument. I'm so glad you didn't do that. Because you never know. There's always that guy in the audience that like knows a lot more than you do, and he's not afraid to tell you. So I'm so glad you didn't destroy me with that one. But basically, you know the thing. There isn't too many things that are on a global egregious scale that have been done in the name of atheism. So I don't think we are the ones that need a moral revamp. I don't think so. Maybe, but it's also the truth. From my perspective.
One would argue that communism did a lot of things based on the true philosophy of atheism. I mean, Marx, of course, was very much an atheist, and that's
True.
part of the, quote, religion of communism. And they did close churches, etc., and execute people, rightly or wrongly. So you can't argue.
But did Marx do what he did, or?
Marx never kill anybody.
I'm saying, what I'm saying, okay, let's just, that was bad phrasing. Let's say the people who actually did that, the people who ordered that stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I know who it is, because I don't. But let's pretend that those people did what they did. In what way, by what criteria, do we decide that they did what they did because they didn't believe in God?
Yeah, it was just an adjunct. Their motivation was...
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't because they didn't believe. I don't think I've ever heard that. I mean, whatever they were doing, I'm pretty sure they had nothing to do with their lack of belief.
It was motivated by political dogma.
You got to study the Mexican Revolution to see exactly what they did. They They nationalized the graveyards. They took over the churches, and they prohibited priests from even existing. Even today in Mexico,
We closed down the churches.
The Constitution says you cannot be religious in public. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but
Right.
it's a very strong position where they take against religion because it was such a negative factor in their history. The old unholy trinity of the landowner, the military, and the church,
Right.
that they reacted against it, and they definitely reacted against religion.
He so knows more than I do.
Well, that's just because they had to re-socialize the population. It had nothing to do with true belief.
You know,
Well,
It's all political.
and-
Money, politics, power.
And I think well, like I said, I think it goes back to what my argument was simply, while the things did happen that I guess, I'm not going to say we're atheist in nature or not, but
I agree with you.
I just don't see how what they did was, why they did what they did because of the lack of belief. Maybe politically they saw the dangers in religion, and of course maybe they went too far, took it overboard or whatever. But I fail to see how they did what they did because they didn't believe in whatever it was.
Well, the basic of religion, one of the evil parts of religion is self-righteousness. But that can also be true in nationalism and there isms. The people that do the evil is even more basic than religion.
Right.
That's the classical example of self-righteousness.
Right.
So you could do something, you could be an atheist and still murder people quite easily.
Right. But, well, I'm not going to say but. I'm just saying that if you do decide to murder people, I'm pretty sure it's not because you don't believe in God. I'm pretty sure it's because you have the desire to murder somebody.
Right on.
You know? I mean, I don't know, weren't we talking about that today? The whole gun thing? But basically, if a lot of people, the problem with America is the fact that guns are so easily accessible. And how people say, well, you need to get rid of the guns. And I've always felt like, if somebody wants to kill somebody, they'll do it with a spoon. If you want somebody dead, you will kill them. If you want to kill people, whether you're an atheist or not, you will kill them. That's just the way it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the lack of belief. So, if anybody have any other questions? What you got?
One last question, and then we'll move on.
The church that you spoke of, that fear, as you said, represent this institution that fears knowledge. A great many of them, in fact, have knowledge. They all genuinely believe. They're not lying to you. They believe what they're saying. And the exuberance of atheism today is probably greatly helped by the rise of fundamentalist Islam, where such ugly people. But the world is full of religious people who are not ugly.
Well, I'm not sure if that was necessarily a question, but I want to address what you said. There are a many number of people. I mean, I'm not going to say that all religious people are bad or evil. That'd just be wrong. I'm not going to say that. And I don't think that, anybody with any type of common sense, I'm going to say it, would ever say anything like that. The only thing that I'm saying is, if you can show me that they are full of love and that they do the things that they do because of their religion, then I think it makes it more credible. But until then, one could argue that it's simply them. I mean, here's the thing. I was a hardcore gang member. That's who I was. I was a Christian. That's also who I was. When I became an atheist, I put all that stuff behind me. I don't gangbang anymore. Why? Because it's not logical. It's not rational. So one could say, well, it was because of his atheism that he did it. No, that's not necessarily it. That's coincidence. I did it because it needed to be done. I developed the ability to start critically thinking about situations. I thought about the situation and I let it go. Now, did I let it go because of my atheism? No. I let it go because I needed to let it go. I don't think it has anything to do with anybody's affiliation to anything. People are people. Christian, Muslim, Catholic, Buddhist, atheist. We're people. We have faults. We suck.
And you were a Christian during your gang life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And didn't see anything wrong with it. sometimes I think back now, and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I was actually like that, you know? But that's what it was. But I appreciate you guys' time. One last question. Can I just grab him real quick? Thanks.
As a black man, do you feel any more animosity or greater hatred or hate mail and stuff like that towards you being an atheist and being a black man?
I get more death threats from black people than any other type. No BS. I get more hate mail from black people than any other type. And they're graphic with it too. Oh man, they'll break it down. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna see walk on your face and I'm gonna be playing the new Nelly jam when I do it. What? No. You're a Christian. You should be praying for me. I do. I get more hate from African Americans than any other type because we are the minority of the minority. Atheists are such a small population of the world. When you look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, we were talking about the demographics today, right? Like what, 2.1 billion Christians, 1.8 billion Muslims. Hindu is coming in at a short third, like 1.6 or something like that. We are very, 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 very small if you want to consider us a religion. The population of people that don't believe is very small. Black people, more notorious for religion than anything, make up such a small percentage. The black people in Arizona who are atheists right now could fill this room. That's a state. That's sad. Considering the fact that, like I said, you know, the whole roots thing. We would not believe in the Christian God, the Judeo-Christian, God, had it not been for slavery. In fact, if you look at the history of the part of Africa that most of us came from, monotheism hadn't even reached that part of Africa yet. You were still like hundreds of years off. I don't know, just an interesting fact. But yeah, I do get a lot of hate mail from more black people than I do from any other type of people. And then women. Women hate me too. They're like, you're so ugly. By the way, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for your looks. So basically, I appreciate all you guys' questions and allowing me to just ramble on and act like I'm important. Basically, I'm gonna take a little break and then I'm gonna come up here and do some songs for you guys. How about that? Sounds like a plan? All right. Keep going up. Keep going up. All right. So this song is called Square. This is the single that I actually use from Out. Turn up a little bit more. Look. Yo. They act like I set out to be famous, talking out the anus. They go on to describe my lyrics as heinous. It's funny how threatening the music is, ain't it? To the typical, modern, theistically, hypocritical ignoramus. I gives a damn what your name is. For all intent and purposes, you can remain nameless, or have the same name as Jesus, Buddha, Zeus, or Muhammad. Worshipping every star in the sky, plus Halley's Comet. Why don't you believe in God? Why don't you believe in Ra? Why don't you turn to the East daily and pray to Allah? I'm just a guy speaking the facts. If you don't like it, you can leave through the back. Creation is a joke, and I'll leave it at that. Look at these so-called damn brothers. Hell, I might as well be looking at their grandmothers. That's where they get it from anyways. Just brainwashed by the fear and the whip, like mini slips. That's why they attack us, try to make up crap about us. Trying to go song for song when they jealous of us all along. Man, they don't want it with us. Bottom line, they just want to be us. Make your mediocre songs and your kindergarten blogs and stuff. Questions. How could your God be jealous if he was the only one? How could we be his children when Jesus his only son? There's just too many holes, but I'll leave you with this. If God was omnibenevolent, how could evil exist? Let me break it down even further. Say I had a pound of salt and I asked you within it to find sugar. Where would it come from? If there was 0% sugar content, then logically you never find none. Teaching logic to theists, you can forget it, cause no matter how far you dumb it down, they just don't get it. So I'll swear to God. Which one? I don't care. Pick one. Baal, Apophis, Anubis, hell. How about Krishna? That I'll do whatever it takes to spread truth and to challenge everything that your God said do. My tongue is like the hammer of Thor, nailing your deity to a cross and asking for more of Greydon Square. That's why they attack us, try to make up crap about us. Trying to go song for song when they jealous of us all along. It's cause they scared of us. Man, they don't want it with us. Bottom line, they just want to be us. Because they scared of us. Make your mediocre songs and your kindergarten blogs and stuff. When you understand why you reject all other gods, you'll understand why I reject yours. Stephen F. Roberts said that, and I take it to heart. Think about it when I debate theists and take them apart. I'm a child of one lesser God. No superstitious baloney or moody, temperamental, invisible homies. If it exists, then show me. Not a book written by man with letters and words that's written by hand, but the Bible's God's inspired word. Prove it. Until you can prove the Bible was divinely inspired, then it's useless. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you don't believe me, ask your reverend to cite precedent where faith wasn't involved. Until he does, we just gonna stop listening to y'all, cause you talking in circles. We'll listen when you talk with a purpose, and that's real. That's why they attack us, try to make up crap about us. Trying to go song for song when they jealous of us all along. Man, they don't want it with us. Bottom line, they just want to be us. Make your mediocre songs and your kindergarten blogs and stuff. It's cause they scared. That's why they attack me, try to make up crap about me. Cause they scared. Trying to go song for song when they jealous of me all along. It's cause they scared. Man, they don't want it with us. Bottom line, they just want to be us. Because they scared. Make your mediocre songs and your kindergarten blogs and stuff. Alright. That was a nice little one. So the guys of the, I don't know if you guys ever heard of those guys, the Way of the Master guys, Kirk Cameron and those cronies, they got on their radio show and they decided they wanted to talk about me.
All right.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Bill O'Reilly's there.
Yeah. So I told this to him. Look, you cowards want to attack? Well, baby, it's on, but it won't be a pretty sight like old ladies in thongs. You think we running and you dead wrong. We staying right here. Greydon Square's the fundamentalist Christian's nightmare. So who's right? None of y'all is dead wrong. Unbelievably pig-headed, closed and headstrong. I fell on. Cause they ain't never gonna realize that Christianity has more holes in it than SpongeBob. But that's cool. Take it on blind faith as I promote Atheist Nation movies on MySpace. And don't hate. You fundies made it a success. It sucks less than that phony religion that sucks less. Now these Christians wanna try to reconvert me? Before that happened, I joined neo-Nazi Germany. So go ahead, murder me, bastard, cause I make atheists come out the closet faster than Ted Haggard. It's true. They get on the radio station and they're dissecting this song, Pandora's Box. They didn't even invite me. I could have talked more stuff about me than them. Right? Alright, look. Look at me, two funny Christian girlfriends later. I become the family household villain like Darth Vader. I'm the Black Carl Sagan, host of Atheist Nation. Richard Dawkins and Stephen Hawking grafted one. It would take whatever God that you believe in to damn me. It can't be Christianity that damages families. Oh, it is. Look how they indoctrinating these kids to believe in Santa Claus for adults. That's what it is. The other day I watched Jesus Camp. God damn. And you can pick which God to damn. This little boy was talking about how he was saved at 5 because he wanted so much better in his life. What are you, 8? 9? Is your rent sky high? Did your wife leave you? What you know about being alive? And what's worse, he teaches this to other kids. And if that ain't brainwashing, then I don't know what is. And all the stuff that I get from the Way of the Master stuff, it always goes one way. I never responded to those dudes before this. But if you're gonna attack somebody, make sure you get the facts straight. You know what I mean? I figure that works better. Look, I question everything, just like America, if it's freedom to let it ring. The Christians tell me that if I don't like it, get out. But you can send my black ass overseas, no doubt. George Bush Sr. says, we ain't even Americans, telling us that our cause is BS like we're scared of him. Like those little boys scared of the reverend that keeps on molesting them, sodomizing and sexing them. And if you believe this planet's 6,000 years old, damn you stupid. And I really don't need nothing to rhyme with that. That's a common fact, so fat. You can order fries with that, stupid. I wish one of these rappers would defend their faith on a track like it's actually hood. I'll take it there. Yup, the name's Greydon Square, the hardest atheist and your grandmother's worst nightmare. So all the stuff they say about me, and I'm sorry about that blank. I actually went blank there. All the stuff that they say about me, you never hear about the stuff that they don't say. The guy actually says, I really like Greydon Square. If he was talking about Christianity, he was talking about the Lord. So I think I'm gonna do on April Fools. I'm actually gonna do a song for those guys. What do you think? They gotta work. Alright, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. I like that song. Turn up a little bit. Alright. So if you guys don't know, I'm also a member of the Rational Response Squad. They have a weekly radio show that they do. So they asked me to do a theme song for them. So I did this song. It's called A Rational Response. Yo. Yo, 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 I'm like the atheist spokesman. That's why I come under fire and pressure attacks like Rex Grossman. Haha, yeah, this game is intense. I've been saying this since agnostic people been playing the fence. They keep saying it's the same in the sense that evolution requires faith, that the universe just came to exist. First of all, microevolution's been proven in the same way that sound waves let you listen to music. And macroevolution is the system of change at or above the level of species inflicted with change. That's microevolution on the grand scale. We can't even word because our lifespan's too short to observe.
But carbon dating is flawed. Its half-life is 5,730 years, and that supports our cause.
Now that'd be great if we used it to date, but since we don't, then I'ma question that argument's weight. We use potassium argon to date the globe, not carbon 12 or carbon 14, not none of those. So before you attack Gray, go get your facts straight, because in the facts race, your God comes in the last place. Belief in God's, we can fix that. Rational thoughts, we can dispatch. It may be hard, but we'll get back in the position just to end that. Believe in God's, we can fix that. Irrational thoughts, we get dispatched. It may be hard, we'll get back in the position just to end that. To battle me, you need to reason clearly. Now I'm not saying fear me, but at least be versed in punctuated equilibrium theory, grand unified fields, quantum mechanics and dark planets, or logic that's sharper than the blade of D'Artagnan's to destroy arguments of creationists who can't stand it. Then they try to hit me with the wager. Who? Pascal's wager. Who? Pascal's wager. And that's a fool's bet. And against the intelligent, it's useless. Really? You bet. That ain't nothing new. They use it on kids. But for those who don't know, it goes a little like this. Wouldn't you rather believe in God and be wrong than to not believe in God and be wrong? If you believed in God and you're wrong, you've lost nothing. But if you don't believe and you're wrong, it's all suffering. Problem is, you can try with anything. Switch the gods around, apply to anything. Flying spaghetti monster, Zeus, Amen, Ra, Krishna, Odin, Baal, and then Allah. Which one of them's our God? None of them all false, and blame it on the atheists. It's always our fault, except it never is. So don't get mad at us, we just showing y'all the evidence. Belief in God's, we can fix that. Irrational thoughts, we get dispatched. It may be hard, but we'll get back into position just to end that. Belief in God's, we can fix that. Irrational thoughts, we get dispatched. It may be hard, but we'll get back in a position just to end that. I like that song. Oh, I guess we got time for extra. Yeah. This song brings back memories, man. I remember that newfound feeling that you get when you become an atheist. That's what this song means to me. Yo, you hand me a beat, I'll abuse it like Catholic priests do to children during the holiest of Vatican weeks. The sack of my beats ain't fat, they enormous. To leave your brain gone, off and lost like a pack of Mormons. You disrespect my clan, you better run and hide. The same way Christians accept intelligent design. You push the truth aside and ministers win. But if you strong in your beliefs, answer me this. If the memories of a life's retained in the brain and the brain dies inside and nothing remains, wouldn't that mean you would have absolutely and positively no recollection, no recount of previous things when you die? Angels and demons, devils and gods do not await you. Even if your own condition would not escape you. Sit up in church with fake faith and false hope. Get up and burst out amen and praise God. Jesus, he saves lives. Molest your daughter and cheat on your wife at the same time. And claim I'm speaking the devil and that I'm going to hell. And as far as hell, speaking the devil.
It's amazing how this God is ubiquitous, omnipresent, existent in every stitch of existence, but yet and still is this place devoid of his presence, of torment and sickness. You go forever for 80 years of sins you committed? That's ridiculous. And you know what makes it worse? The fact that nobody else seems to have an issue with it. Just blindly giving into it, but me. But maybe I'm the crazy person, maybe it's just me. I love knowing there isn't a God. Well, at least that the God in the Bible isn't God. You may think it's odd that I'm black, and I don't swear by God that everybody recognizes as God. I'm tired of saying the word God. It's self-defeating and meaningless, just a title. Idle reverence for some lenience. And lenience for what? Every single sin that we have in our arsenal, he gave us to strut. And for what? What kind of sense would it make to create a sinful creation you judge from the gate, and then send your only son to prohibit the fate that you ultimately responsible for? And why in the hell are we saying he? Cause if God had a sex, then he wouldn't be. And maybe if he was God, then he couldn't leave his greatest creation alone in this time of need. And this is exactly what I mean. We ignore the obvious in front of us. In 2,000 years from now, people gonna be making fun of us. If we last that long, if the Muslims don't kill the Christians, and the Christians don't kill the non-Christians, cause they can't compete with the Muslims, cause the Muslims cutting people's heads off, chanting in Arabic, claiming they love them, declaring jihad on Western Muslims, taking innocent lives for nothing. But maybe it isn't, maybe it just seems. Maybe I'm the crazy person, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'll just leave and take my crazy belief system and just leave, cause really it's just me. I'll say it once and never again, I'll never go back, cause they're thinking for yourself's a hell of a sin. Us against them, I wonder who win, cause all we really have to do is spit logic to get under their skin. That's why I'm extra. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everything. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to come up here and pretend like I'm important. You guys are the movement, not just me. I'm just a part of you guys, so I really appreciate you guys having me tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much.